Hello and welcome. Just a quick video, quick live right now about something I'm going to start talking about finally. If you've been working with me or following me, you know that I have a really big aversion to even putting up with people using the term narcissism. And that's really because, as a divorce coach specifically, we don't go to court for validation. We don't go to court so that we can get anything accomplished by using that information. Nobody cares. I've said multiple times in videos, the only people that care about your narcissist are you, your family, and your friends, and TikTok and social media, because of the attraction properties. If you are feeling and suffering, you're going to continue to do things to prolong that suffering. And by the way, if you don't believe in these topics, you might want to look it up again, because there have been many changes over the years, especially in the last couple of months and even last few weeks, where people who have not believed in anything spiritual or anything involving the law of attraction are now believers, because the gap between the initial thought that I have, whether it is positive or negative, the time period, the time refractory period that I like to say, between the manifested feeling and thought and noticing it and actually having it manifest, whether it is a positive result of unexpected funds of abundance or cutting your finger accidentally because we're having an uncomfortable thought about someone in our life. That's happening much faster than ever before. So it is harder and harder to deny the absolute facts that you are noticing probably and just choosing to ignore, that when you, if you're watching this, make a post about someone else, that your life actually does get worse within the next hour or the next day, even though 30 to 100 people may be supporting you automatically because they somehow identify with your process and want to share their story and actually ignore yours. So I digress. I said it was going to be a short one, and I have a hard time stopping talking. So what am I talking about? I'm going to start talking about this connection between narcissism, i.e. emotional abuse on a habitual, devastating level, and its connection with the spiritual awakening process. So yes, as a divorce coach, as a men's coach, women's coach, and relationship coach, and a spiritual mentor, it is impossible for me to deny the fact that I'm working with therapists and doctors who are now leaving their profession to become coaches. And if you've ever worked with me, you probably have heard me say the first time you come on my camera during my enrollment process to see if we're even going to be a good fit. And I usually will say, why now and why me? And when it comes to the therapists and the doctors, when I ask them this question, the why now has to always is because it doesn't work anymore. So it's pretty powerful. And it was shocking to me the first time. Interesting the second time. The third time, a pattern has emerged. So what we really see is there's two camps. There's one camp that goes about treating and dealing with narcissism and the emotional abuse that is happening to the person from some external source, to use everything in our power and our knowledge through force of will, damaging, by the way, in the process, to use psychology as amateurs, to use quotes from doctors, to say, because I read a book or a blog post about dealing with a narcissist and how to beat a narcissist, and all that in between, we now have amateurs doing their healing work without any facilitation whatsoever. So using the psychology model without a facilitator, without a professional, is dangerous. I cannot open up TikTok without seeing in the first, second, or third flip any direction someone being very entertaining about their display of pain due to a narcissist, and are now using the platform to create more of an ecosystem under the illusion of awareness promotion to attack, hurt themselves, but under the illusion that they're actually helping others. Now, if you look at my TikTok, the very first time I had a video go viral, I was scrolling through and I ran across one of these videos, and it did trigger me. And I have gone through my healing stages. Simply watching and hearing it brought all the emotions back. I cried. I simply recorded myself listening to this person who was viral with their voice, with their sound. And I had a really beautiful release. That was healthy. It lasted as long as the sound was playing. And when I turned it off, I just felt fantastic and good. I hadn't had a good cry in a little bit. So here's the problem with that I see, regardless of my captions. 98% of the responses, which were insane. By the way, again, it went huge. It went up so fast, I thought something had broken. All 98% of the comments were, "Don't cry." Interesting. Have not been told not to display my emotions by anyone in quite a long time. And especially at that massive amount. I was also told, give it time. Well, that's interesting because time is an illusion. And I work with people sometimes 20 years after a divorce and the abuse, and it's still there. So time will never heal anything other than a physical wound. If it's healable, that's been proven over and over again. So I'd love for someone to argue with me with that. Bring it on. I'd love to have that conversation. And we'll see. Never mind. You win. I lose. I really don't care. If you want to argue for your limitations, go right ahead. You can get as entertaining as you like. So back to what I was talking about with this piece, the narcissism problem. And we saw the same thing happen with toxic masculinity, where it went from a place of it needed to be a new awareness to where it became so over analyzing, over crouching, over aware that it ruined relationships and marriages and families. And interesting how we saw an increase in male suicide during those years. And now no one even talks about it anymore, right? Now the new thing is narcissism, right? So I can be in a divorce group on Facebook giving 100% support, but if someone reads my post and they are triggered, they have now carte blanche to call me a narcissist, to get the admins to believe that I'm a narcissist when I have not said a single thing negative in the slightest. Because the power of this idea has become so strong that now the victim is believed 100% without any fact checking, without any awareness. Why? Because they're your friend, because they're on Facebook. Well, that's not really smart. So I advise against that. all work needs to be internal. So what we're seeing is that if you create this model of how to behave with a narcissist, all of the effort, all of the research, all of the talking about it to friends and family and social media is actually putting way more power into it. Now, you might be saying this, F you, Anthony, I don't feel that way. I feel empowered because of blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that rage that you're feeling because of what I'm saying, that's actually dangerous. You want to notice your reaction to someone else saying something that you don't believe. You could just click off and go away. But most people who are under this idea that once you identify a narcissist, that you have the ability and the freedom and actually are empowered to point out any narcissist for any reason and then blast them. You might be watching this, cussing me out right now, and you're welcome. You are very, very welcome, because that's a gift. That's an opportunity to turn inward versus putting a label on me, whatever label you want. You could turn inward, and here's why you want to turn inward versus just do whatever everyone else is doing out there on social media and what's popular. Force exerted against force only creates more force. War against war creates more war. So typically what happens is you identified your partner as a narcissist. You divorce them, break up with them. You don't stop talking about it. And you celebrate it. And you say you're good to go. You're empowered. You're healing. You're on social media, posting parties, going out drinking, having a good time, living your best life. And while you're sharing and having a good time, every toast has a tone of, I'm so happy because I got rid of that piece of blank. And the negativity spews out of your own mouth that could kill you someday, because that leads to more thoughts and more speaking and more actions and more behavior that lead to feeling worse and worse and worse, because there's an illusion that by pushing it away, you've now done all the work you need to do. Now, then you move forward, and what do? You go on social media, you celebrate your new relationship, and so happy, so fulfilled, so much love. The man or woman of your dreams. And the only reason you found was because you got rid of your narcissist, your emotional abuser. Mysteriously, they become the narcissist for you within a matter of weeks or months. And then you go back on social media. Then you join a Facebook group specifically around narcissists. Say, oh my gosh, I thought I got away from this. I divorced my narcissist and I did my work, which they didn't do any of it usually. Because I work people after they've gone through years of this and they realize they didn't do a fucking thing to do any work at all. They just tell their friends they did work and everyone celebrates them. It's kind of like the nightstand Buddhist. I buy a Buddhist book and I put it on my nightstand. I call myself a Buddhist after reading one chapter. Yes, this happens all the time. And as a coach, I call people out on it all the time. Yes, I'm an asshole. And that's fine for me. I'm going to try and wrap this up because I have a client in 10 minutes. So next thing we know, now we're in the covert. Now we come up with more bullshit is my point. When we go down that route, it never ends. It will never end. And I even had a client who divorced a narcissist, and guess what? They didn't have that problem because they married a doormat and they divorced them because they realized they went too far, because they didn't do any work at all. They assumed whatever they thought because of what they saw and the behavior of the person, because they just judged they knew everything when they didn't know a damn thing was happening. They went the opposite direction. Now, when we turn inward, we realize that our ego is being destroyed through this process of acceptance and serving and, i.e., loving our narcissist. Now, the interesting thing happens is that when I turn inward for my spiritual peace in my work, when I realize the truth is the narcissist doesn't actually exist. And if you've done spiritual work, you already know what I'm talking about. If you have not, you're probably getting pissed again. The spiritual path teaches us that we are all one and the same, and everything around us is the matrix. Everything is the mirrored projection of our unconscious becoming, the subconscious becoming conscious thought. Whatever we think and believe and feel does manifest in reality every single time. Every single time. Our entire world and universe was created this way. And you actually can't find proof that I'm wrong. You can find blogs, you can find posts, you can find people talking about it. And the people you actually follow that you aren't going to research are the ones actually above them proving it all the time. It's not even a question in certain fields. Quantum science has proven it. So good luck. Good luck not believing it. And you're welcome. When I turn inward and I open up spiritually and realize my truth and my sacredness and my worthiness is untouchable, whatever religion you believe in, whatever faith you believe in, does not matter as far as the truth of who you are is the I am. It's the noticer of your thoughts and feelings. Once we realize the truth, the person in front of us is always a gift. They are only there to show us what we do not want to see within ourselves. Because the truth is we are unconditional love. We only feel pain when we have a difference or a gap between the truth of who we are and the way we are perceiving ourselves. So the narcissist makes us perceive ourselves differently because the voices in our head are always positive and negative. They never stop. The one you listen to, the wolf you feed, is the one that gets stronger. It doesn't eat the other wolf, though. So no matter how strong that voice of belief in whatever the hell you want to be your excuse to be unhappy, you're going to only see proof of that. So of course I'm saying anything and you can't even hear me. You can't even hear me. However, you can lower the volume on that voice and listen for the other voice that is your positive voice, your happy voice, and raise the volume on that. Now, when we do this, we get closer and closer to our awakening in our truth. And it can happen like this, instantaneously. If we turn inward when we feel those massive expressions of emotional pain. Michael Singer makes it very simple. Untethered Soul, by the way, is the book. Once you notice the emotion, the pain, the discomfort rising up within you, there is always an urge to do something, i.e. you're thinking, no, Anthony, when I'm being abused, I have to do something. Well, yes, if you believe you're being abused, you are going to feel like you have to do something. But maybe after your third or fourth divorce, you might realize that it's you. You're a part of it. You have to own some responsibility for what you think and feel and then move forward. So we go deeper and deeper into this concept. And the truth is, if you are making me see myself manifesting in front of you, all my fears, all my insecurities, all my hurts, all my wounds, the gift is that now I can see what I need to work on. Well, spiritual awakening happens anytime in our life when we have a crisis that we choose to turn inward, or we are forced through massive amounts of pain to surrender and let go. So Michael Singer's method is to notice the feelings. Very simply, he doesn't use any terminology or dogma to trigger anything. So it's your choice to not listen. When we feel the emotions manifest, that is actually the energy coming up through our central conduit. Now, when we have the urge to do something, which is to yell at somebody, cry, divorce somebody, speak out because we were choosing to be quiet the whole time, that's on us. We actually do better by not doing anything, quieting the body, maintaining stillness, relaxing our vessel, and allowing the emotion to hit us, because that emotion is coming up because our natural divinity is pushing the pain out and up. So when we go, oh, I'm feeling painful, it must be the person in my life that is the cause of it, and we don't let that out, we go from being in a state of loving this person unconditionally, and then we don't understand that our pain is absolutely 100% our own fault. And then we then create more and more pain until everything our partner does in their behavior, we project that they are abusing us when we are abusing ourselves. So we want to let that emotion rise up and clear so we can get our peace, our health, our wellness back online as soon as possible so we can move forward. Then we look at our partner differently. And if we still need to leave, we leave. We just leave for ourselves. And we don't pick up the mantle and think it's our right to now become a perpetrator, because that's what we do become when we start telling everyone around us that we need to be aware of this and then look for a narcissist around our reality. Then we're a perpetrator. We're not even a victim anymore. We are a perpetrator. And then we become the narcissist. But you can't tell the narcissist they're a narcissist. You might have realized that, right, when you were calling your narcissist. Now, when you become the narcissist, no one can tell you that. So you end up having to go to the covert narcissist Facebook group where everyone is now becoming a narcissist while they're in this process. And they're all feeding each other and going to each other for amateur advice and destroying their own life. So gotta go, have 1 minute to finish up for my next client. I love you all and look forward to seeing more of this conversation where I'm finally comfortable. Well, not comfortable. I'm finally going to do it. I'm fucking done. I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to talk about narcissism and my beliefs and my clients' beliefs, because they get instantaneous healing when I don't allow them to talk about their narcissist anymore. Imagine that. So maybe I'm manipulating them. If that's what you want to think, good for you. You're allowed to think whatever you want to think about me, and you are free to use any excuse to be unhappy, because it's all working out for you. Eventually, something's going to happen to you where you'll either keep going on the hero's journey of struggle and muscle and pain, or you will go on the awakening journey and actually be happy and forgiving and change your life. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I just bless you all. And I hope that you all take small steps to subtly shift from wherever you're at, because wherever you're at, your day, your life can be and will be better, better, and better.